9th.
Right, hi
Maybe.
everyone, it's the 9th of June and this is our Dynasty Pride. A lot of you don't know that we've renamed ourselves, so you'll hear more about that this week when our logo is done. But this is our call talking a little bit more about core. Now I'm going to chuck you all on mute, but do feel free to jump on at any point and ask any questions. It's just so I don't kind of get any feedback and that sort of stuff, as in like it goes a bit funny. So I guess what I wanted to do is I wanted to share a little bit more with you guys about kind of core. And so many people say to me, I just want to get rid of my mummy tummy, or, oh, I've got this little pouch here and I just can't get rid of it. And I think it's, you know, it's super common. And of course, we're going to, like, our bodies are different, especially after we've had kids. But there is definitely some stuff that you can do in order to kind of like, I guess, focus on that. I started looking into it after I had Lila because I had no core control, no core strength. I couldn't get up off the floor, and that was one of the reasons why I started Pio in the first place. But it was a Pio lady, actually. She was teaching Pio, and she said, well, have you been checked for ab separation? I was like, what the heck is ab separation? I had no idea what it was. So she checked me and she was like, oh, you've got about 2.5 to 3 fingers. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. Started looking into it. I was like, oh, that's not necessarily a good thing. So I started doing core repair work and recovery to kind of try and help that, because as a lot of you probably know, that if you do certain things, and obviously in pregnancy we're told, you know, don't do crunches, don't do this, don't do that, because you're gonna, you know, you could potentially cause yourself damage. That is also the case for if you do some of that stuff after pregnancy. Oh, all these people, I have to admit people, and it's
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm like, oh, what do I do? I can't do 2 things at once these days. You know, what can we do to make sure that we are protecting ourselves, I guess, so that we're not causing damage? So I've got a couple of slides. They are literally words on a page. I have not done anything fancy pants, but I kind of just want to explain to you before I start showing you a few bits and pieces, and I want to try and get you doing some breath work, which is going to help you with your core stuff. I want to kind of, you know, explain a little bit of like the science and kind of the biology about what is happening. I will kind of hasten to add, I am not a personal trainer. I am not pre or postnatally qualified. This is purely stuff that I have learned from my own personal experience, plus being in this new test group. This program is going to be revolutionary, by the way, for pre and postnatal women, and there's going to be workouts that all of you can do postpartum, whether you're 1 month postpartum or 20 years postpartum. Everyone needs to be doing these workouts, because man alive, like, I have noticed like my core has really come back in, and I'm starting to think about things in more of my daily life. So I'll talk about that in a bit, but I want to let me just share my screen, and I'm going to show you, hopefully this will work. Can someone give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Yeah, cool. Okay, so my ring light worked for about 5 seconds. My big ring light is in the garage because I wasn't allowed it in here for viewings. Nick was like, no, it needs to go in the garage. Don't know why. Right, okay. So first of all, I just want to give you just a very little bit of information in regards to what our core is structured like, and how ab separation or ab splitting or diastasis recti essentially happens. So how we are made is in, like, there's multiple layers that sit within our abdominal area, and the deepest one of those is something called the transverse abdominis, or the TVA. Now you will probably hear a lot of the coaches talking about like belly button to spine, posterior chain. If you've been doing lift 4 or anything with Joel, you'll hear them talking about all of this sort of stuff, and essentially this is what they're talking about. It's the really, really deep muscles. It's not your 6-pack. It's really, really, it's the stuff that's protecting your spine, right? And this wraps around the whole of your insides, and this is called the transverse abdominis. And essentially that is what is protecting everything that is going on there. It keeps you stood up and all of that sort of stuff. So it goes all the way round and kind of wraps around this way. So it's much easier for me to show you pictures. Now, what that is connected by is this line in the middle, which is called, oh, can I go side to side? Yes, I can. There we go. You have this line down the middle, which is called the linea alba. And that's the line, you may remember, for those of you that have had babies, some people it goes very dark. So that is the connective tissue running all the way down, and that comes out because of hormones often when we're pregnant. So what happens with that linea alba is that it can often become, well, it's always going to be stretched during pregnancy because your tummy is expanding, right? So of course the muscles, if you think about it, as you are pregnant, your belly is getting bigger. So what is happening? Well, the muscles, of course, they're going to stretch and they're going to have to expand. Now, our bodies are made to do that, but sometimes what happens is it tears. And that then means that that transverse abdominis is not connected all the way around. So in that middle where it's connecting at the front, it can often split and it can come apart. So obviously then if you have a C-section, when they do the C-section, that is physically cut through. It's, to get the baby out. So I'm doing the actions with my arms and you can't see my arms, but essentially, so that is what's happening. So you have repair that needs to happen. Now, the reason why your transverse abdominis is so important is that because obviously you've got your linea alba. Now, when that splits, it's not going all the way around anymore. So we need to work out how we can get that back together. But until you do that, people often say, well, I've got a mummy tummy and all that sorts of stuff. It's because we need to repair the really, really deep layer, the transverse abdominis, and not just be working on the core six-pack area. So crunches and things like that, it's not going to do anything because it's not that underlying really, really tight muscle. If anyone starts to try and get into the room, I'm not going to be able to see. Oh, here we go. No, here's Melinda. Okay. All right. So that is just one thing to say. So you've got the really, really deep muscles. Now, those of you, when I went to see the physio when I was pregnant with Alethea, because I thought I was starting to get a prolapse, like pelvic floor was all she spoke about. And that's something that you would have been told, are you doing your Kegels? Are you doing them? Now, she said to me, every woman should be doing pelvic floor muscles from the age of 14, whether they decide to have babies or not, because it stops you getting incontinence in the future. So we're always taught to, you don't squeeze from where you wee, you squeeze from where you poo, and you do it and you do these different things. So hopefully, I mean, this is very, very detailed from under there, but it's not just one tiny muscle, it's the whole of the muscles. And essentially what the pelvic floor is doing, it is holding in your organs, which is why when you prolapse, it's not very nice. But essentially that is acting as the support section to hold up all our lady organs and our bums and our bladders and all the other lovely bits and pieces. So what obviously happens when we're pregnant and when we have a baby is that they get stretched, they get loosened, they get relaxed. They can actually then be they can be too tight for some people, and it causes issues. So we've got multiple things going on here. It's not just about, again, that six-pack. And this is the thing, like, I didn't even know any of this stuff existed. I just thought you had your core, your six-pack, and that was it. But when I started teaching Pio then, I realised that actually, it's not just about that area, and your core really does start from your glutes all the way up to your ribs. And I'll go into that in a bit more detail. So that's your pelvic floor. Now, the other thing that comes into play is your diaphragm. So the thing with our diaphragms is when we're pregnant or, just after having a baby, our diaphragms have massively been squashed. I don't know if anyone has seen that wonderful video where they show how your organs all move about as your belly expands. It's absolutely fascinating to me. But obviously, one of the things that gets squashed is your diaphragm. So we often find that we're really out of breath, we can hardly breathe, all of that sort of stuff. Oh, I've gone backwards. How do I get rid of this? That's annoying. Go away. And it means that, yeah, we struggle to breathe. So when we're obviously not pregnant anymore, the diaphragm has to go back to its rightful place. But it's still really important for us to breathe and make sure that we are not breathing. I don't know about anyone else, but I often find when I'm sat with Alethea trying to feed her or hold her, I'm like this, and I'm shallow breathing from my chest. And that's what a lot of mums do, and even mums that have got toddlers. We kind of hold it all up here instead of breathing into our whole rib cage and through our diaphragm, which doesn't then make it very helpful then when we go to do strenuous exercise, which again can then, you know, result in you have that little paunchy bit. And it's so all of these things are contributing to it. It's a little bit sciencey, but I feel that I need to explain this to really then kind of like labour some of the points that we're going to do in a minute. Finally, where's my picture? Oh, okay, it's disappeared. We've got the lumbia. I can't even pronounce that. And this is essentially, it's the stabilizing muscles that sit around our spine and kind of basically like they're the TVA corset, if you will. So we need to make sure that we are activating those things and they sit really low and really, really deep in. And it relies, and this lumbar metaphysis, however I pronounce it, is basically when we are utilizing that and then we're utilizing the TVA activation, all of those things are coming together, and that's going to help repair us. Now, all of this stuff is, of course, it's really, really important, because not only do we want a flatter stomach and all that sort of stuff, it's going to protect you from injury, but it's about daily life injuries. So I don't know about you guys, but for me as a new mum, especially with Lila, flipping heck, I had so much back pain, both in my top back and my bottom lower back. And I have so many people, mums especially, say to me, I get such bad lower back pain. Well, it's because we need to strengthen our core, and we need to strengthen everything that's going around here and stabilize and protect really, really, really deep in order to help us not get any back pain. So what you will find is people often will jump into a fitness program and they'll say, I've got to stop because I'm getting too much lower back pain. I'm not doing any lower back stuff. What is it that I'm doing? It's because people aren't engaging their core properly, and that is why then it results in the pain. Okay, so that is definitely something worth considering. If you do start ever getting lower back pain when you're working out, you need to think about, are you really engaging your core properly? And I'll talk about what that means in a minute. You'll also find in what we like to call activities of daily living, we do not have proper posture. So that is one of the things that I really like Bar for. She is constantly about like tucking our pelvis, really long spine, and you don't bend like this. Now, this is how I was changing Alethea in the first couple of weeks. I was changing her like this. I was like, shit, why is my back so painful? It's because I was doing this. And actually, some of the stuff that I've been learning is that actually we need to make sure that we are keeping our spines really straight and all of that sort of stuff. And I'll go into that in a minute. So it's making sure that we can protect ourselves in daily life, you know, going down, picking up the toys from the floor. And I didn't realize quite how much I was doing, not incorrectly, but I was doing that was causing me pain. So I think just talking about some of this stuff, it helps us to become mindful over what it is that we're actually doing in order to be actually able to protect ourselves and not have pain, generally speaking, in life. So this is a lovely picture for you. So this is so the picture on the left, so this is like before pregnancy, no diastasis recti, abs are completely set together. Now, everyone says to me, so I've actually got a friend, and I am going to send her this recording, who is pregnant, and they have told her that she has diastasis recti. And I said, well, have you got diastasis recti, or has it just stretched? Because actually, when you are pregnant, like I said earlier, your stomach muscles have to stretch to incorporate your growing belly. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they've torn, but your abs and your tummy will look more like this middle picture, regardless of whether they have officially split or not. But then what can often happen is that doesn't come back straight together because it has been overstretched or it has torn, and that's where we need to repair it. But even if you haven't had a baby, all of this stuff is really important, because obviously you want to make sure that you're not getting back pain, that you are getting the most out of your workouts, and that you are going to be able to, people always say, I want to, I want my jeans to fit better, I don't want muffin top, all of that sort of stuff. All of these sorts of things are going to help to do all of that sort of stuff. And I wish I'd known all of this before I'd had a baby, because I could have got really nice and strong before basically getting pregnant. And I'm not looking at the chat. Just notice the boobs on the pregnant one. See that, Vic? That's hilarious. And how do they go back afterwards? Because mine do not look like that now. That's hilarious. Anyway, okay, right. So before I get you doing some activities, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit. Oh, where's it gone? The slides have gone. Now I've opened the chat, I can't see anything. So the point that I guess I kind of want to try and make is that what we need to do first is we need to get the stabilization going, and we need to get really, really super strong before we start going and doing all like the sit-ups and all the other mobility stuff, which is what I call mobility. So what to do if you've definitely got separation? There's a number of things that we should obviously avoid. One of them is bending, which just, it sounds absolutely pigging mental, doesn't it? You've got a newborn, no, you can't bend anymore, because you literally, all you do is bend and twist. And basically anything that involves pulling on that linea alba. So that means getting out of bed. Now, one of the things I know that I was definitely one of these people. As soon as I was like, yes, brilliant, baby is out, I can sit up, bolt upright. I don't know about you, but when you were pregnant, lie on your side, sit up properly. And I was like, baby's out, brilliant, I can bolt, sit upright. No. One of the worst things that you can do, because it's doing different things and you're not sitting up from the TVA, from your transverse abdominis, which is actually going to make it worse. But any kind of extension, rotations, getting the baby out of the car, doing kind of this sort of stuff, any kind, rocking, any of these sorts of things is going to be pulling on that stretched tissue, and it's actually going to be making it more damaging. So getting up out of the bath. I don't think I've had a bath since I've had Alethea. Anyway, the other one is about rounding your spine, and we are terrible at doing that. So that is all I wanted to share in terms of theory. I want us to kind of do a little bit of work in regards to how that works. So I'm going to sit down because I need to work out how you're going to be able to see me. Hopefully you should be able to see me. Just take a drink. Did anyone have any questions about your anatomy? Does it make sense? Okay, good. You'll look very serious. Okay, right. So
I'm serious because you said you haven't had a bath since Alethea.
No, 10 weeks. This is 10 weeks of dirt.
Yeah.
I haven't had a hot tub though.
You haven't washed.
I haven't washed for 10 weeks. Don't need to. Lockdown life, innit? Christ on a bike. No, I've been in there. So anyway, it's fine. Okay, so I just work out how you're going to be able to see what I'm doing. So what I want us to first think about and talk about is our breathing. I need a bigger screen. Right. Okay, top of my head's cut off, but that's fine. So the thing is it's something called 360 breathing, and the reason why it's called 360 breathing is because you are using all of those things that I've spoken about before to essentially make sure you're engaging your core properly, which is going to help you get the best out of your workouts. Sorry, my ears are going mental. So what I want you to do is put your hands on your ribs. Ashley, if you've got a baby, you can't do it. Oh no, you've got your hands free. So I want you to sit up. If you're sat on a chair, however however is working for you. I want you to put your hands on your ribs, so your fingers spread across your ribs, and I want you to take a really nice deep breath in. So you see, my chest is expanding, so that means that my diaphragm is getting all of that air in. Yeah, and then when you release, I want you to feel like your fingers are, everything's pulling together. So this is a really lovely exercise. So you inhale and then exhale, and literally feel like you are pulling that transverse abdominis. Like you have to kind of do it really, really mindfully. And I bet all your husbands and partners are looking at you thinking, what the dickens has she got me doing now? Right. So, and breathe, when you breathe out, really like close your eyes, really, really think about what is it that you're pulling in. It's that deep, deep layer. Think about everything around your spine that you're trying to bring everything in. So just take another deep breath in and breathe out. Now this takes a lot of practice. This is not easy, okay? I struggle with this. This is really, really hard, but this is really, really going to help you, I promise you. So it just keep, like, as we're sitting here, I'm going to tell you the next bit, but just keep practicing that and just being really mindful how that feels, because it's quite challenging to really feel those really, really deep muscles, okay? Now this is like a layered approach. The next thing that we're going to try and do, which a lot of you will have heard, especially when the super trainers, they talk about engaging your core, belly button to spine, all of that sort of stuff. So what we're going to add on, when we've got our inhale, we're going to exhale. And now we've got this going on, but now what we're going to do is try and pull in belly button to spine. So we are going to, I've got a blooming, can't see. No, you're not going to be able to see. So when we breathe in, breathe out, but now you're really pulling in like someone's got a belt on you, and you're really trying to pull your belly button to your spine, okay? So we breathe in, and then when we breathe out, transverse abdominis together and belly button to spine. So that feels quite different, right? Then breathe in, and then breathe out. Now just doing this is really hard work, right? I don't know, but I'm getting quite hot. So so that is layer number 2. Does that make sense? Can you feel it? Can you feel the difference between 1 and 2? Now, when I started doing this, I couldn't feel a thing because I had no core strength, because I started doing this after only a couple of weeks after having a leaf year. But building up to it, you start to notice the more you practice it, the stronger it feels and the more you can feel it, which is a good thing, whether you've had babies or not. You can also do this if you are pregnant, I'd hasten to add. So, third part, you guys are going to love me for this. So, then the third part, what I want you to think about, so we're going to do 1, everything in. Number 2, belly button to spine. Third one, you are now going to engage your pelvic floor muscles. This is really challenging, and I really struggle to do this. So we breathe in, and then we breathe out. Transverse abdominis, belly button to spine, and now try and stop yourself from weeing. All 3 together. Yeah, that's hard, right? And then breathe in, and then breathe out. 1, 2, pelvic floor, 3. Yeah? So you're doing everything. So we're bringing all of those things together. Yeah? We'll do a couple more of those because this is really quite challenging. So breathe in. And then when we breathe out, belly button to spine and pelvic floor. And now see if you can hold that for 3, 2, 1, and release. Hard. Yeah? Can I have some feedback? Anyone not feeling it, doesn't get it, would like me to repeat anything? It's hard.
It is hard.
It is hard. It is.
Yeah.
This is going to really help, I promise. Go on, say again. I missed you.
But you've got to do it, haven't you? I'm
really
really bad.
If you want to get rid of your baby pouch.
Can I ask a question, Han?
Of course you can, my love.
obviously not obviously, but I'm a C-section mummy and she is nearly 6.5. So is this type of stuff going to work for my little pouch too?
Yes, absolutely. So the super trainer in the test group, yeah, she absolutely said that. She said, regardless of how long ago it is, you start doing this and you do it intentionally, you will definitely see that it's going to start making difference. But it's just very hard because it's quite an unnatural thing to do. I have a step 4 for you, which is going to make it even more difficult. Right, so step 4. So are you ready? Right, let's breathe in and breathe out. And belly button to spine, pelvic floor. Now I want you to think about that space 2 centimeters below your belly button and now pull that in. That's fucking hard, isn't it? That's the bit, that's the mummy pouch, but you have to do 1, 2 and 3 before you do 4. Just doing 4, you can't do it. You physically can't do it. You have to do the others before you go to 4. So when you breathe out, you can stand up, or you can also do this lying down, ladies, because some people feel this a bit differently. Lying down is just as good, but doing it sat like this it's a good start for 10. So breathing out, belly button to spine, pelvic floor, and 2 inches below or 2 centimeters below your belly button. So you're bringing in up everything this way. Makes sense? I love the fact that you're pissing yourself. It's just hilarious.
I was just thinking this is a different workout phase.
It makes me hot. Like my face is on fire because when you put these 4 things together, now I'm going to show you a couple of moves, but kind of the point that I'm trying to make, and I know Kim and I have had a conversation about this before, you need to be doing this throughout your whole workout. All your faces are like, what? I'm going to what?
Yeah.
But this honestly, because if you do this stuff and you intentionally think about your core, what are you doing? You are protecting your spine. You're preventing yourself from injury because a lot of injuries come from basically poor posture and poor core strength. And I know a few people have struggled with 10 rounds because they're like, oh, it's too much twisting. No, it's not that. It's because you're not engaging your core properly and you're not doing that, which means that you're doing this and you're doing this and you're wiggling all over the shop and it's not helping you. So doing this throughout the whole of your program. So I don't know if you can see. For example, if you are doing a deadlift, right, this is me just sort of slouched. Hold on. He's stripped for you. Yeah? So if I go to do a deadlift and I'm not engaged, it just doesn't work. But if I'm doing that, breathing in, everything in, belly button, you can see that I am now, and now I bend, I'm protecting my spine. Everything is nice and tight and engaged and in. Okay, so it's going to help you get the most out of your work, and I would rather you go light weights, no weights, all of that sort of stuff before going super heavy. Oh look, brilliant, I lifted 10 kilograms. Well, yeah, but is your spine now sore? Is your back now sore? All that sort of stuff. And this is going to help you anyway with all of those daily those activities of daily living. It's going to really help with all of that sort of stuff. So if you haven't already, check yourself for diastasis recti. If you don't know how to check yourself, there is a video in BOD under the pre and postnatal. Go and check yourself for diastasis recti, because if you have got it, we need to then do some specific repair work before you move on. Okay, and you definitely shouldn't be doing crunches, but most of the other moves are actually safe to do, and that doesn't just come from me, but that comes from a number of postnatal and prenatal specialists who have done a lot of work into this, and actually they now say that you should do planks, for example. If you are doing them properly, you can absolutely do planks. It's one of the best things that you can do, especially to use these 4 components. Okay, so just lying down, I've got a few minutes, we've got 7 minutes left. So here are a couple of things. So if you don't feel like an absolute plum lying down, oh, can you even see me? Right, so lying down, there are a few things. You can do these 4 things lying down, okay? So you do breathe in and breathe out, belly button to spine. I actually find this easier to do lying down because you can feel your stomach and you can feel what's going on. And then you can really, really, really just sit there and feel where that lower core muscles are coming in. And that just really, like, I find it easier to try and engage all 4 of those elements before doing any exercises. Like, this is easier for me lying down. The next thing you can do is bring your legs, you now can't see me at all. Right. My sofa's dark, so that's not going to help either, is it? Right, that's a bit better. Okay, is bringing your legs to 45, doing that work, breathing out and just touching the legs up and down, yeah? So we're not doing anything crazy, we're not going mental. And ladies that are in my bar group, I did quite a long core one about your tummy popping. So one of the things that you often find and you often see people say, or they kind of do, is they'll be doing their crunches and their belly pops. Okay, so what I mean by belly popping, you're not going to be able to see, is people go to do a sit-up, for example, and their belly does this. That's not going to help. That's actually going to make your abs separate. It's going to not help with that transverse abdominis. And actually, you're going to potentially get more bulge because you're pushing everything out. So you're building the wrong muscles. You're building the 6-pack, but you need to get that stuff going underneath. So by doing everything underneath and then crunching, that is different to that. Yeah? So that is one exercise. There is loads and loads and loads and loads of exercises that you can do. I would highly recommend, please, ladies, go and check yourself for diastasis recti first of all. And there are a number, I think, Ashley, you were doing some of that, weren't you? There's specific exercises. Have you found that that's helped yours at all yet? Go on.
I'm chatting away and I'm muted. Yeah, I tried to do it sort of at the beginning. I was trying to do it after or before every workout with the bar that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I've probably got a bit slack now because I'm kind of juggling time and what I can fit in. Oh God, something's happened outside. There's all sorts going on outside. Never mind. Yeah, I definitely think it's working because I was probably a good 1.5 to 2 centimeters, and I'm definitely on the verge of under 1, just about, just on the cusp.
So that's good. So I would say 1 centimeter. They say 1 centimeter is classed as a normal person. So that's good. That means that they come. That's amazing. That is really, really, really amazing. Yeah. So 1 centimeter is classed as normal. So yay for recovery and repair. But I think it's, I think that's the thing. We often then try and jump into things. So you guys know that I was like so up for, yeah, let's do 10 rounds. And then I did this pre and postnatal thing. They're like, no, you can't do that. I was like, what? Gutted. And then they've said, well, we've got to do this. And now the only thing that we can progress on is to bar, which I'm like, absolutely fine, although some days I did get a bit of FOMO and wish I was doing 10 rounds or the works. But actually, for me, I've had to learn it's to slow down. It's the repairing, because what you don't want to do is cause yourself more damage later on. And that is something that absolutely will happen if we don't make sure that we really get that stability in that core and that recovery. Which one can you see, Melinda? The white one? Oh yeah. Look at him. Look at him. Belly in the air. yeah, so I think I've laboured the point enough. But this, yeah, doing all of this, so, and literally doing this throughout every single move, whether you're doing a chest press, whether you're doing a squat, whether you're doing a lunge, all of these things. And if it means that you have to do less reps, or you have to do it slower, or you're not doing it to keep up, you know, you're not doing it at the speed that is going on you know, with the super trainer, that is fine. You know, slow and steady really does. And actually, one of the things that Elise says in bar is actually that the results come from that stabilization. So let's stabilize before we mobilize, because that's going to absolutely help. And it's really, really super, like, easy to just go, oh, I'm not going as fast as them, or I'm not doing it. Yeah, but you're making sure that you're protecting yourself in the first instance. Does that make sense? I think we've got about a minute. Does anyone have any more questions? I'm sorry, like, I probably could talk about this for like 2 hours. Okay, cool. Well, I'd love for you, please do go and check whether you have it. If you do, let me know, because what we could always do is jump on and do a little workout together. To do some of that kind of repair stuff. And I'd love to know how you get on in terms of trying to do this when you're doing your workouts, especially the cardio ones, because that is more of a challenge. It's really, really challenging. Practice this, like, you know, when you do your Kegels, you know, I used to do mine at the traffic lights, not that I've driven much in the last 10 weeks, but you know, doing and trying to do this sort of stuff when you're just sat watching telly, you can do these sorts of things. So I hope that's, I know I'm going to get cut off any second. So yeah, give it a go. Check in tomorrow in the virtual gym and let us know how you got on with engaging your core, the 4 components. Everyone's like, no, it's just one, your belly button to spine. Oh, so much more, so much more. But yeah, let me know. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Han.
You are very welcome. It was lovely. Did someone get a pic? Kim, did you get a pic?
I've got a pic of you, because you're just awesome, I'm going to say.
Oh, well, hold on a minute. Have I got my phone? Is it going to die? It's going to go, isn't it? Right, quick. Oh, that's me. Smile. Nice to see you, ladies.